everyone, my name is Pratham Sutaria and I am the business head of Immrse products and new initiatives at Mindler. Currently, I am at TAPMI Management Institute here in Manipal. We are here to talk about the new BBA Honours Program that TAPMI is starting on the second campus in Bangalore. I have with me here Executive Director Management Studies MAHE, Professor Madhu Veeraraghavan. Hello, sir.
Hi, Pratham. Good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you. So glad to be here. I would firstly like to congratulate you for the second campus.
Thank you.
And for the start of an amazing journey in the BBA Honours Program.
Thanks, Pratham.
Just wanted to know, what was your thought process of, starting a BBA Honours Program that also, not in Manipal, but in Bangalore. So, just if you could take us through
Absolutely.
the journey and the thought process behind this.
This is very close to my heart. I mean, you're absolutely right. So, we have a 40-year legacy of running outstanding B school. We are the top 20 B school in this country. Most importantly, Pratham, we are also part of the university now. Officially, we are part of the university because we are now merged with the university. We are a constituent unit of MAHE. MAHE is the #1 private university, institution of eminence by the government of India. So, two great institutions coming together, which means that the best of the both worlds are available to a student. Brilliant. And, I come from a university system. This is my first job, well, at least before the merger happened, where I even knew something what is a standalone business entity. It doesn't happen, right? You go to any school, Stern, you go to Booth, you go to Princeton, wherever you go, it's part of a university. And I think it's the right thing for TAPMI to be part of a very large, very successful, very resourceful university. So therefore, that's a plus. Now, why BBA and why Bangalore? And I've been thinking about a 2030 sort of agenda for TAPMI. And as a director, it's also important for me to think very strategically about where we want to be in the next 10 years. Are we happy with the 1,000 students we have? Are we happy, well, top 20 to top 15? Maybe it's okay. But that's not where a top B school should be. Our view is we should be now thinking about creating the next generation of outstanding leaders. India today, Pratham, is crying and screaming for a brilliant undergraduate program. Every parent talks about their sons and daughters to be engineers or doctors. How many parents that you and I would know who would say, why don't you do something in business? Do you think, oh, business, do you need a degree for it? So business never had the charm. And people thought, it's not a profession. You guys can do this. Maybe you didn't get good marks. That's why you went to business. That's really not the way people should be looking at. So when we went back to the drawing board, I didn't want a new PGDM or an MBA program. I wanted a very, very special undergraduate program like no one else is running in this country. I didn't want a Me Too BBA program. So why Bangalore? We are very lucky that the group has an outstanding 126-acre, very, very large campus in Yelahanka, and the vision of the chairman is outstanding. And Dr. Ranjan Pai, who's the chairman of MAHE, basically, his view is, Madhu, we want to be able to create the world's best campus. We want to be able to create entrepreneurs. We want to be able to create a lot of corporate guys coming into campus. And the vision of the chairman is brilliant. 25,000 students in this campus we need to have. And we need to, this is the campus that people should talk about. And I'm very sure, Pratham, the way the campus is coming up, everyone in the next 24 to 36 months will say there is no better campus than MAHE Bangalore. I'm very sure about it. Now, this undergrad program is so special. We could have done it here, but we wanted the separation between the PGDM and the undergrad program, and we wanted a 4-year undergrad program. Every school today talks about 3-year undergrad program. We didn't want that. We are very clear, anybody who does the TAPMI BBA Honours should not need, and repeat, I'm repeating this in full conscience, should not need to even think about an MBA program for the next decade, right? We don't want you completing the BBA Honours, running into some school and doing an MBA, because you won't need it. The reason is our program is so strong. It's got a great liberal arts focus. It's got social science. We're bringing in all multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary work. And the beauty of it is the UGC has just released something as recent as last week about why India should have a 4-year undergrad program. This has dawned on the regulators as well recently, and that is very good. And so therefore, our undergrad program is very, very special. We want to be able to create outstanding leaders who are very multidisciplinary, who understand interdisciplinary focus, and who just don't do business courses, right? So TAPMI Bangalore also has great resources, great facilities. And being in Bangalore, Pratham, we are also able to attract not just corporates with whom we work, but a lot of entrepreneurs will come into campus. The vision of the chairman is to see If an entrepreneur walks in, he should be able to walk into a class, or he should be there, and students should be able to walk in and say, I want to just sit and listen to, how did you even start your business? And final point before you move on to the next question. In this undergrad program, the year 4 is basically broken into 3 tracks. It's got an advanced specialization track, but people can take more of the same if they like. It's got an honors track. This is for people who really want to go and do a PhD program at Stern or Duke or Princeton or Booth or wherever they want to go. And then the final track is entrepreneurship. And I'm very sure you'll have some things to ask me about entrepreneurship, but there's a very good reason why we have that as a track in the honors program.
Amazing.
So I'll let you maybe ask more if you like.
Amazing, sir. So we touched upon 2 critical aspects here, which I want to ask you further. One is the entrepreneurship angle. Yes, of course, Bangalore is the hub where all the startups are currently thriving. It makes complete sense to have that in Bangalore. So could you talk more about, the entrepreneur, as you said, right, the 4th year has an entrepreneurship specialization as well. So could you talk more about that and, what is the vision? Are we looking at more entrepreneurs coming out from TAPMI over there? So if you could touch upon those topics.
Certainly. Just before I do that, I think one more aspect that I probably didn't cover in the previous question was the competency. How are we building competency? Today, if you look at many good universities in India, they churn out numbers, right? We are not in the business of churning out numbers. We want to be able to develop 11 different competency for these students. Critical thinking, how do you integrate, ability to integrate, do you think about multitasking? Are you a team player? Do you understand teamwork? Do you understand, technological proficiency? Do you have leadership skills, creativity? All of these, Pratham, has got to be tried and tested in a program, which many schools are not doing in the undergrad program. Therefore, that's a specialty that we have, right? And now to the question of entrepreneurship. I've always felt that in a B school, like in TAPMI, for example, in the PGDM or the MBA program, I understand that, 80% of the students come from, say, higher middle class families who probably have, and many of them have 90% of our students take loans, right? They have to repay the loans at some point in time. And therefore, they think, well, if I come to TAPMI, surely I'm going to get an outstanding job. And no doubt about it. We will obviously be able to place students. We've been placing students for 40 years. One of the reasons why we have not been successful, at least from my perspective, of an entrepreneurial mindset or a track in the MBA program is this point about, sir, but if I do a startup, for next 2-3 years, how will I repay the 18-20 lakh loan that I've taken to pursue an MBA program? Very fair question to ask. In many we know in our culture, parents support a lot. Even if they're doing masters, the kids are doing masters, parents do fund them. If you're a fresher, where will you get the money? If you're a work-ex, sure, you've saved some money and you can pay, right? But we have 30% of students are freshers. And where will these freshers get the money from to pay the fee? So therefore, entrepreneurship has never taken off in the master's program. But I think the reverse sort of in the undergrad program. In the undergrad program, to me, the mind is so open for these kids. They're like 17, 18, buzzing with energy. They've got a whole blank canvas. You can paint the way you want to paint it. And there are a lot of guys in Bangalore, as you rightly said, Silicon Valley, their family businesses are there. They want to come in and learn more about entrepreneurial mindset and think about how can I further take my business to the next level. Or perhaps they can probably think about, what, I don't have a family business, but who's to stop me? I mean, look at that movie by Mark Zuckerberg, The Social Network, the movie where they talk about how Facebook was created. As a Harvard student in your 3rd year, in 2nd, 3rd year, you're writing codes and getting Facebook. I mean, we have outstanding brains in this country. Unfortunately, we have narrowed them and channelized them in one track. I want the Bangalore campus to be a huge canvas where they can paint their careers the way they want to paint it. And that freedom, the flexibility, the structure, the campus has a school of regenerative medicine. It has a school of design. It has a engineering school. It has a business school. It has a school of public policy. I would like the students to go across all these areas, pick what they want to pick. And particularly in entrepreneurship, Pratham, we are probably one of the first schools in this country to focus extensively as a track. Look, I don't say hundreds of them will take them, but surely 15, 20, 30 students who take the program are going to have so much more exposure. They can never imagine their lives that on a daily basis, they'll be able to meet an entrepreneur, both successful and failed, because you can learn as much from a failed entrepreneur as much from a successful entrepreneur. That's our vision.
So that was a great answer, sir. Moving on to the next question, which we touched upon, is the focus on research. Because I strongly feel that there are not many undergrad programs which help you first of all find the right kind of PhD, find the right, give you the infrastructure, to really do and pursue research, which I believe is very important and critical to the entire education system. So could you focus more on, could you just elaborate more on that, that part specifically, the research angle?
Certainly. So, when we first started doing this, well, before I go to the undergrad program specifically in Bangalore, I used to be the honors coordinator for the undergrad program at Monash. And the beauty about that program was you're dealing with the 21-year-old kids, but they're so intellectually sort of driven. And you wouldn't have expected from a 21-year-old kid that they'll think about reading papers, writing papers, having a thesis, then doing a PhD. So when we launched this program, I was very clear that there has to be a fourth year and there has to be a research year. There has to be an honors year. And students who do the honors year should not do their PhDs in India. You should expose them so much that they should be able to find a place at Stern or a Duke or a Brown, Rice, NUS, Melbourne, Sydney, wherever they want to go. The best schools in the world, we should be able to give them the exposure. And why I say this is if you just compare China and India, right? Take two countries and just look at the top journal publications coming out of Chinese authors and Indian authors. I mean, it's chalk and cheese kind of stuff. The reason is China also has a very strong undergrad program and they've got a very strong research program. The government pumps in a lot of money, right? And then these guys then go to US or wherever they want to go, do their PhD programs and then start publishing. It's the training, Pratham, to me that is important. Unfortunately, many Indian schools are not able to give outstanding training. The skill sets that is needed for a PhD program, we are not able to do that very well, right? There is a problem and we got to accept the problem. It cannot be put under the carpet, right? Therefore, I decided that when we do the undergrad program, we'll collaborate with the best schools in the world, best universities in the world, have a joint supervision between a TAPMI faculty and perhaps an overseas partner. MAHE has around 250 universities with whom they have MOUs. Bring some of them on board. Allow the student to collaborate between an overseas academic and just imagine the sort of exposure they're going to get, right? Then when they do this, they are probably able to publish their fourth year honors essay in an academic paper and that makes the CV even more stronger. Then they're thinking, you know what, I like it so much, I've tasted this, let me now fully immerse myself into this. And that's when we tell them, don't apply for a PhD program in India, we want you to go out. We want you can come back, there is no problem. But we want you to have that exposure of going to a top school, getting their PhD program, perhaps working there for 5-10 years, and maybe do what I do. I came back and you can always come back. This is our country, it's our home. You should come back and probably contribute more. To me, Pratham, if you're not a research intensive school, if you're not focusing on research, you can forget your global accreditations. Today, we are one of 6 B schools in this country to talk about ASCs being amber. How do you get them? You don't get them because you teach well. Surely you have to teach well, but you also have to publish in peer-reviewed journals, which means you need to have a very strong faculty set. Faculty should have the skill set to be able to do it. We need to train the undergrad students because they are now going to get into masters or PhD. So every journey to me begins from the undergrad program. If you have a strong UG program with an excellent research support, focus, a great what I call corridor environment and atmosphere where people are buzzing with ideas, writing papers and asking questions. To me, I go back to the favorite words of mine, intellectual journey. This is an intellectual journey. You will ask the question, you'll work hard, and then he or she, the student, then decides, I want to do my PhD program. Can you imagine the sort of developmental activity we do? And this program is not just meant to do a 3 or 4 year program. It is very holistic. It is very interdisciplinary. I would be very happy if students said, sir, I want to do my honors thesis across 2 different departments. I want a joint supervision with School of Medicine, because I want to look at consumer behavior and I want to understand how human brain even functions. Well, we don't know that, right? So why don't you work with School of Neuroscience and have a co-guide from there? Who is to stop you from exploring and going through all of the departments of the university and picking what is right for you? That is what we should create. Stop working in silos and I'm a business school prof, I'll only deal in business. I'm a science prof, I'll only deal in science. The world is not structured that way. Are you telling me climate change does not impact us? Now, climate change doesn't have, how many people are now working in climate change as academics? Not very many. It's happened in the West, it's picking up, but it's a whole area. Climate finance is an entire new discipline. Today people talk about the impact of temperature, impact of blizzards, impact of avalanches, impact of snow, precipitation, wind speed, wind chill on business activities. So I'm not taking away the business from BBA, Pratham. The business is very much there in center, but I want a student to understand that the world problems cannot be solved by you being closeted, by you being unidimensionally thinking. You've got to expand your horizons. You've got to, that's the TAPMI program. That is why I encourage every aspirant to think about choosing the school, because we are going to give you that whole smorgasbord, if you like, of outstanding content and great professors, by the way.
Absolutely. I think intellectual journey, I think those are the two critical words here. And I strongly feel, had there been something like that for me when I was doing my undergrad, yeah. So I strongly feel this is something going to be great for all the students. So moving on to the next question. Basically, we already touched upon the fact that this is a 4-year program. You slightly touched upon that the 4th year is going to have 3 special tracks and specializations. So this is also in line with the national education policy, right? So could you touch upon that, and was it a very voluntary effort to align it with the NEP, or or it all came together? Just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
It's a very, very important question, and a question that I think every aspirant would want to know. So we are part of a university, as you know, and the universities in India are governed by UGC, right? So the NEP, when it came, I think it's a great thing. I love the NEP for a number of things. One is it gives you the flexibility. It gives you exit options. You and I could never have done this interview 3 years ago, right? Because we could never have spoken about exit. Right. Today in our BBA program, Pratham, as an example, let's say, for example, you walk into TAPMI BBA and decide that you don't want to do the 4th year. Right. You can exit at the end of the 3rd year. You can exit the BBA, right? You don't have to, the 4th year is also by invitation. But let's say we invite you to come to the 4th year, and you say, no, sir, I think I will exit at the end of the 3rd year. I want to work for 4 or 5 years. I'll think about later on what I want to do. That flexibility, Pratham, was not available. Only NEP now provides it. So now everyone's talking about it. NEP is also saying that you allow people to be multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary work, which again you and I could not have done 5 years ago, which is already in the program. So in a number of ways, it was so beautiful that it all sort of fell into place. The NEP was being drafted, we looked at it. Of course, NEP says it has to be a 4-year program. And the 4-year program is critical because if you want to go to the US or anywhere, Australia, Canada, wherever, it is 10 plus 2 plus 4. 10 plus 2 plus 3 will not work. The Bologna model will work, it's 10 plus 2 plus 4. Therefore, we were very clear. In fact, when we were designing this program 3 years ago, at that point alone, we decided it has to be a 4-year program. What goes in the 4th year, perhaps, we were not clear at that point. We were discussing and deliberating. But when the NEP came in, it sort of, put everything together, okay, 4 years. And we want to have a research focus, and we want to have tracks. So it was as if, not blessing in disguise, but it sort of fell very nicely to us. Okay, now suppose if the NEP had not come, then what would we have done? Suppose there was no NEP. I think we would have still done this, because to us, a 4-year undergraduate program with exit options gives the students so much more flexibility, so much more freedom. In the West we have something as a gap year. A lot of people take a gap year, right? They study for 3 years, take 1 year, they travel the world, they come back as better individuals perhaps, and they get into a 4th year program or an MBA program. I think that flexibility should be given. That's what I love about the NEP.
Amazing. So sir, I think this is my last question. And just, what would you want to say to the, the aspiring students over there? So just a few words from you for the aspiring students, and, why they should consider this as consider the BBA Honours Program at TAPMI.
Well, the first thing I'll say to all the kids, all the aspirant kids are that have a fantastic year 12 exams. I'm sure you worked very, very hard. All of you are going to be doing very well. I welcome all of you to TAPMI, and I've given a very good sort of detailed interview as to why you should choose this program. you should choose the program thinking about your career 10, 15 years from now, and think about what will the school do for me to build my career. And as the director of TAPMI, as the executive director of MAHE, I assure each of you and your parents that this decision to come to TAPMI would really be the most outstanding decision that I've taken. Because when you walk in, you will just feel so much more excited. You'll feel really confident. We have the best faculty, best resources. It gives you the freedom, flexibility. And students, our focus is not just on education. Our focus is very holistic, very value-based education. We want to do something which we never spoke about. In fact, this question, sorry, I'm taking a little bit longer to answer this, but something that we've not spoken about, Pratham, is sustainability. Today, many organizations also want leaders to be aware of sustainable practices. They don't want to destroy the world. And in this program, we are very, very special focus on sustainability. We are focusing on languages. We are focusing on very interesting courses from anthropology, sociology, psychology. It's going to give you so much more of this, what I call world exposure. And if you want to have that exposure, if you feel when I finish the TAPMI BBA Honours, I don't need to do an MBA, then this is the perfect program for you. And the program opens up 3 very important doors. In the 4th year, it opens a research a door for you to do a PhD. It opens a whole advanced track. It opens an entrepreneurial track for those of you who want to do entrepreneurial ventures. I mean, this is going to be the most amazing campus as well. The campus is built on 126 acres with outstanding facilities. A world-class B school is going to come up in the next 24 months. So I welcome all of you to come to TAPMI. I welcome you to write to me or to my colleagues at TAPMI if you have any questions. And I want the best for every student who chooses this program. I want each of you to have the most fulfilling, most rewarding, and the most successful career. And you feel, wow, this is the program that you'll probably encourage even your children to take, right? So that's what we see. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. This was really good.